welcome to 216, a Link to the Past Randomizer podcast. I am your host, Fear Agent, back for a surprise bonus episode before we close out Season 1. Today on the show, we've got the 2022 Main Tournament Champion, Obscure Lifeform, fresh off his victory. This is actually the most Link to the Past Randomizer dedicated episode of the podcast for the season. We talk a lot about Link to the Past Randomizer. Obviously, with him coming off of the main tournament, taking the whole thing down, it's fresh on his mind. So we get into a lot of the stuff about the game, more so than we've had with some of the other guests. But we do talk a lot about who Obscure is and his background, and it's a really fun conversation. I'm very excited he agreed to be on the show, literally just finishing up his main tournament run. So really fun conversation. Glad he's here. Not a lot going on in the random world right now other than the, Cross Keys and Kaz Boots tournament. League announcement, of course, happened, as I mentioned, the last episode, April 7th. We'll be getting all the Season 5 info there on the League channel. So you're going to want to check that out. The 2022 ALTTPR Challenge Cup just finished up as well. And the Challenge Cup, I feel like I've done a poor job of covering, mainly because I've never been a part of it. Since I've been in the community, I've been in all the main tournaments. And if you're not playing in something, it's hard to pay attention to it. But there's, a ton of really big names in the Challenge Cup. Just looking at the people that made brackets, you see people like TJ Maelstrom and Tabby Cat, Dr. Earworm, Josh Bittner, Temp, Shin Maru, some people that are really, really strong runners and just kind of missed the cut of the main tournament. Sir Link-A-Lot, who made it pretty far. But big shout outs to the winner of the Challenge Cup this year, and that is Dr. Diabetes with one of the best names ever. That's such an awesome name, Dr. Diabetes. Looks like they went 2-0 against Farfaloo, with Krellbell and Vinter finishing third. So GG's to everyone over there. Expect to see a lot of those names making the main tournament next year, and some big things from them coming up. We'll probably see a lot of these names in the league as well. So apologies for kind of neglecting the Challenge Cup as it's gone on. Try to give more shout outs to the Challenge Cup runners for 2023 when it happens. Cross Keys tournament still going, of course. Just started week 3. I am currently 1-1. We'll find out who my opponent is shortly. Hoping it's not someone that I can't beat. That's the fingers crossed. I get wall kicks. I don't know if I've ever beat wall kicks in Cross Keys. That's the big one that I'm trying to avoid. But someone like Days Cloud would be pretty tough. Honestly, anyone that I'm going to face in the 1-on-1 bracket's going to be tough, so I don't know what I'm sweating. I just really don't want to play wall kicks is all I'm saying. Just make sure that I'm not playing wall kicks. So going to keep the intro short so we can get to the conversation with Obscure, the 2022 Main Tournament Champion. Let's get to it. All right, so first things first, congratulations, winning the main tournament. How does it feel?
Oh, thank you so much. It still hasn't really set in, as I keep saying. I was just saying, like, even from last year, getting 4th place, like, that still hasn't sunk in either. But to go ahead the following year, just to absolutely, well, I don't want to say absolutely, but to get the 1st place it's unreal.
I mean, so last year in the main tournament, you said you made it 4th, right, overall.
Yep.
Going into this main tournament, what was the expectations then? Because 4th is really good, right? Like, there's no reason to be upset with fourth place at all. What were your expectations going into the main tournament?
It's not. My expectations is just to go in there, have fun, win a few matches, and see what happens. It's more expectations of other people, and I think that was kind of what worried me the most. And I know I've spoken a lot about it to other people. I think even Koya mentioned it at the end interview about conversation that we'd had, but. Yeah, I think getting 4th in the main tournament, people kind of, there's this expectation of you to be this great runner or whatever. And I'm, even though I get shot down all the time, I know I'm not the best runner out there, and people will say otherwise, but I don't feel like I'm personally, like I see other runners and I'm just like, wow, their execution, their gameplay is just so clean.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the best runner is such a subjective thing in a randomizer, right? Like, it takes a lot of skill, obviously, to get where you are and do what you've done. But there is a bit of luck to it as well. Like, there's nothing to take away from that. But it is quite the accomplishment to do what you did. And there's only been a couple of people that have done it. So adding your name to that list is really impressive. So
Oh yeah, absolutely. Don't get me wrong. I'm like totally thrilled, like to get this far, and like even before like the finals happened, like I was telling all my friends, all my family, it's like, hey, guess what? This game that I play in speedrun, it's like I'm in the finals of the tournament. I even told my manager and possibly my future manager like about this tournament. So I was just like really, really excited, like just to be there and be like even representing.
Yeah, for sure. So can you tell me some of the emotions? Because we're just a couple of days away from you actually winning it. But when you hit the done and you see the first in the race time room, just kind of walk me through the feelings and thoughts that you were having.
So I'm trying to remember that. I remember it was getting quite panicky because I think I was getting quite close to last location. So, I mean, I'm sure in the interview you'll talk about my actual gameplay, but I knew I was getting quite close to last location, and I know how good Scholzer is. And so I'm just kind of thinking like is there a possibility? Is there a hope? And that I mean, it was a terrible seed for us running it, but it was a fantastic seed for viewership. And like to see that Tara and Big Key, and then to see the Master Sword upstairs, and I'm having to do a Master Sword Silverless Ganon fight for the victory. You know, I was just like this. You just couldn't script this kind of seed.
No. Not at all. I mean, Master Sword for Go mode, that's nuts in the finals of the main tournament. Yeah, in
the climb on GT. So yeah. So I'm there, and I'm just kind of like I usually keep race time minimized. So like when I'm finding the Big Key, I minimize it because I get very distracted by race time because my eyes are constantly flicking over. So I'm like, you know what? If I lose between now and the time I've killed Ganon, it's, you know what, it's whatever. I'm just going to finish the seed. I might as well. I'm climbing anyway. So that's kind of my philosophy with that. So I close race time. So I'm not actually looking at anything, and I'm just concentrating on the race. And so I found that Master Sword. I was like, okay. I was like, here we go. Like, I don't know what's happening on race time, but I was just like, okay, let's you know, I've got half magic. I think I had a couple of potions as well. I was like, let's just focus, get this done. Let's just clear my mind, because I have a lot of problem with getting very distracted, especially when, you know, you're an hour and a half into the seed, and that's kind of when you start kind of forgetting things and skipping things and missing things. And like, I think a lot, especially in like these last, like say from quarterfinals onwards, like, you know, you're kind of fighting for your tournament life, and you're near towards the end of the tournament. Like my GTs are just getting worse and worse and worse. So I'm just feeling like my execution is just not that strong at the moment. So I was just like, okay, let's just get this done. And you know what? This is pretty exciting. So like, just went through the Ganon fight, and then I opened up race time. Like I couldn't even open it up. Like Ganon's exploding and everything, and I was standing there with the sword, the fanfare's going, and I was like, I don't want to click it. But I know I've got to click it. And then I come up and Scholzer's not finished, and I'm there, and I was just like, oh my God, like all I've got to do is hold up and push done, and my hands shaking so much. I was like, please don't hit forfeit. That was my biggest challenge at that point.
Yeah. Here's the one thing I hate about chat during these big races, right? Is you have to be feeling the pressure, right? You know that there's a lot of people watching. This the game 3 of the finals. You know, most of us haven't experienced this, even if we've been running a rando for a long time. There's other tournaments and stuff that are going on, but this is the main tournament. And you see in chat, like, you know, you might make a mistake. You talk about your GT climb or whatever, going through GT, and you might make a little bit of a mistake that you normally wouldn't make. And chat is always like, oh, please, obscure. You know, it's like that stuff as a watcher kills me, because it's like I'm trying to put myself in your head of like what it's like. Like, I mean, even just a regular tournament race, I feel nervous, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's
and going through this. I mean, on the biggest stage that we have as far as rando goes, it's. I mean, did you feel those nerves as you're, you know, trying to just, you know, when you're in GT, just execute?
Yeah, I mean, you try and block it out. Like, you know, I mean, you know people are going to be commenting on all that kind of stuff. I feel like, especially with last year as well, I think that was kind of like coming 4th place, that was kind of like my way of getting onto the main stage and kind of getting myself out there and like starting to get myself a bit known. So like from last year, I've kind of felt that. So coming in this year, like, I know what like chat's going to be like, and people are going to be judging you and saying, oh, you missed this, you skipped that, you should have done that more efficiently. That wasn't quite right. So yeah, I knew what to expect. And yes, I mean, you're putting yourself on the line, you're putting yourself out there, and like I said, it comes with the expectation of other people, which is what I said like earlier. It's that expectation, like you're in the finals, you're supposed to be perfection, but no, it doesn't happen like that. And like you said, like if we're just playing ladder or chilling or playing a casual siege, we'll play perfectly fine because there's not that pressure and stress there. But like main tournament finals, like things play in your head.
Especially the seed that you got too.
Yeah. We talk about execution and routing, but it's always that mental capacity as well, like trying to keep in your mind, and that's a huge part that I think people don't talk about.
100%. Yeah, I mean, just keeping your cool, because you had to do that entire seed on Fighter Sword. You're searching for keys. You're looking for the GT Big. It's in Tile Room of all places, of course, in the game 3, right? And then you still need to find a Master Sword for Go mode. It's just like how that's so I mean, as just a watcher, it was very nerve wracking. Big props to both you and Scholzer for performing really well in the tournament. Let's talk about a little bit about the tournament overall. Like, obviously you're a fan of it. You won it. Well, what did you think of, these last two tournaments? I think last year was all casual boots. And then this year they mixed it up. You went fourth last year and first in this year. Give me your thoughts on kind of both the tournaments from the last couple of years.
Yeah, I mean, it's different styles. So I like that they're keeping it fresh and trying to do things different. And they're actually listening to the community as well, because I think one of the biggest complaints last year was burnout from doing the hard standard over and over again.
Right.
Best of 3. So I like that they try to incorporate more modes. But with more modes, there's possibility that you're not as well practiced. So a lot of people, were saying like, I was thinking about not joining because of the inverted keys, but I decided to join anyway. So it was kind of like, I know my weakest mode was inverted keys, and I think Scholzer knew my worst mode, so he was quite happy when he saw the inverted keys. But yeah, so I like what they've done. Of course, it comes with randomizer, isn't it? It comes with the mode. If we was all just playing like open and standards, like I think a lot of us would have moved on. But the fact that they're keeping it so fresh and they are listening, like I said, like burnout kind of didn't happen this year, at least for me anyway. Like it kind of did last year, but this year, it's there was lots of different modes, lots of things to think about. But it was just about being more practiced on certain modes over other modes. But I guess it's just changes in meta. I guess there's nothing wrong with changes in meta and changes.
Yeah, and I think what's so impressive is by people that like you and Andy finished I think top 4 last year or around there, and then finished top 4 again this year. There's these runners that are like consistently putting up good results, and now we can include Obscure as one of them. Like you're consistently putting up good results in different modes. I think that's kind of what is even more impressive. Like, yeah, I mean, the standard hard or whatever it was last year, any sort of long tournament like that is takes a lot to win that thing. But when you have to learn MC Shuffle and Key Sanity and Inverted and do all that kind of things and still consistently win, that's pretty awesome. So
I think one of my friends put it best because in the ladder, I managed to get like the season 12 grab bag, and then they messaged me and like after the qualifiers were done, it's like, well, the main tournament's basically a grab bag, and you won last season's ladder. So you got this. You got the main tournament. Don't worry about it.
Well, let's take it back. When did you first discover Rando?
Oh gosh, so I mean, it was probably about 2018. I want to say, like I discovered it. Funny enough, I discovered it through obviously AGDQ and all that stuff, but it wasn't direct. Like I think my first real like speed run that I watched was Trihex's Yoshi's Island.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Which was absolutely amazing run. Like I've watched that so many times. Like it's probably one of my favorite speed runs out there on the internet. So I watched that and just kind of fell in love with speedrunning. Like I've always been really, really fascinated by this stuff, but never really had the dedication to start speedrunning. Anyway, so I was just going around like this really cool thing, this AGDQ, like all these people speedrunning and breaking these games. And then I was like, hold on, I wonder if there's a link to the past. So obviously AGDQ, link to the past. And I think it was actually Andy's reverse boss order run that I came across. So I think that was 2017.
Okay, yeah, I remember that one. I can't remember what year it was, but that was a good run. Yeah,
yeah. So like Andy and like everybody on the couch and everything, they're just so funny, and I'm watching it, and I'm just loving it. You know, I'm just having such a good time just watching. Like, even though this is years later after the runs, like I was just having such a great time. So yeah, so that was kind of it, and then I just kind of didn't think about like Link to the Past. So I kind of kept going with Cole Sagan 42, who does a lot of the Mario hacks, and I think he does a lot of Mario Maker now. So I kind of just started watching and following him for a bit. And then I was kind of like, hold on, like he's doing all these speed runs and whatever else. I wonder if like who's doing speed runs of Link to the Past. So, you know, YouTube, Google speedrun or YouTube speedruns Link to the Past. And then, of course, Andy pops up again. It's like, oh, yeah, I remember that guy. I was like, I watched his run. So I started watching like a couple of his videos. And like my mind was completely blown by this randomizer. I was like, what is this? I was like, this is amazing. So, yeah, so for maybe like 6 months from like 2018, I was just watching Andy's videos like from beginning to end, like just on repeat, really. Like, he's such a good entertainer. Like, he's really done such good stuff for this community. Like,
for sure.
Like, words just cannot say like how well he's done for everything. So yeah, so I've always loved like Link to the Past as a child anyway. So I was like, you know what, let's give it a go. So I think it was kind of the 2018 Christmas that I kind of downloaded my first randomizer.
Okay.
And so I started playing some of the Christmas. So Christmas Festive was kind of like my introduction.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's quite the introduction. Wow.
It really is. And little did I know as well, I thought Enemizer was actually like the standard for for randomizer. So I'm playing the Christmas Festive Enemizer. So, but I was enjoying it, you know. So I had a lot of fun. I was doing like a seed a day. And then I kind of went on the Discord and I saw like all those daily challenges that they put up there. So I started running a few of those and just kind of like comparing times and everything like that. But then, of course, a lot of those dailies back in the days used to be overworld glitches. So I kind of learned overworld glitches like very, very early.
Wow.
Like just to try and play. Because when it was an overworld glitch, it's like, well, I can't play today and I really want to play. Because I didn't really know what was going on. Like this is all I could see was these daily races.
Right, you're not racing. You're just playing on your own. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, these asyncs. So, that was kind of about it. So the first time I actually done a competitive race was March 2019.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So I don't think I've been in the community that long, and I think like 2 months after I'd really started doing competitive stuff, the Overworld Glitches tournament started. So Overworld Glitches was actually my first tournament that I joined 2 months into me playing rando.
Wow.
So
just dove right into the deep end. Wow.
So yeah, I mean, and shout outs to Spleeby as well, because we started at the same time, and Darkened Sky. We all started at the same time, and Spleeby was in that Overworld Glitches tournament. And of course, I got put in the group of death with Hacksaw, PRD Wong, and Glan as well, who eventually went on to win. So everyone's going, you're in the group of death. And I'm like, I don't know these people.
That's awesome. That's crazy. So you went from just watching speedruns and kind of being fascinated with a lot of the Mario stuff, it sounds like, because you and I actually have a very similar path in that. Like, I'm a big fan of like Carl Sagan and Pooh and Barb and all them, and found those before I found Link to the Past. And then you get Andy, you find Link to the Past, you're watching him, and it takes you a while to then pick it up and start even playing.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, it's, I mean, you enjoy how you want. Like, some people, like, they like watching these runs. They don't necessarily like racing. They like watching speed gaming or YouTube videos or whatever. And like, you know what? Fair play to them, because for months and months until I decided that was me as well. Yeah,
for sure. So what about speedrunning the vanilla game? Were you doing that? Were you, as far as execution goes, were you practicing that when you picked up the randomizer? Did you kind of like Google or YouTube's like how to get better at this game? Or do you just have like a natural, like, I'm kind of good at video games and can pick things up pretty quickly?
I wish. I've only ever actually done 2 NMG runs in my entire rando career.
Oh, okay.
One of them was in Norway at Nobly's house, and
Nice.
there was alcohol and other things, and I had no idea where I was routing, and nobody's literally yelling across the room where I've got to go and what I've got to do next. And the same thing, it was just kind of an on-the-fly stream at the end, and I literally had like Nobly and a few other people in the chat telling me where I needed to go and what I needed to do. So those are kind of my two runs. But I did join the ADRMG, the All Dungeons RMG tournament quite a few years ago now. So
Yeah.
I guess if I've learned any like NMG strats or any vanilla game strats, it would actually be through glitches.
Sure. Yeah, that's a fun run to do. It's tough.
It is.
To get into, because it's like pretty low percentage, but it is a pretty cool run to watch. Where are you from?
So I'm from London, UK.
Oh, okay. Is that where you're at now?
Yeah, I've always been here. Yeah.
Okay. And so did you find a Link to the Past community in London? Because you talked about Nobly. I know that you guys ended up teaming up. What was the connection there?
So back in the day, like I was kind of out of work. So like just a bit about my past. I used to work for the police in London.
Okay.
Taking like all the emergency calls and all that stuff, and it kind of got a little bit like mentally stressing. So I kind of had to quit the job. So spent a lot of time just kind of playing rando, like almost back-to-back races. So Nobly was like in the evening was putting up like anyone want to race cross keys, and I was kind of like, yeah, sure. Like, I mean, this is kind of like the first time I've ever run cross keys. Like I saw people playing it, but I'd never really. I mean, I still don't really want to get into it, even though I do play it.
Yeah.
So like I just started, and then the next day he pinged again. So I was like, yeah, sure, let's go again. And the next day he pinged again, and so that's kind of where our friendship. Then we started like messaging each other, and it's like, hey, I'm going to play this seed. Do you want to play? And then there was a Nordic tournament, and they had 11 people, so they needed to get one more. So that's kind of when I joined like all the Nordics, the Swedish and the Norwegians and all them lot.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's kind of like how I kind of got into that community there. But there are a few like UK based players. Like obviously we've got Shady from Ireland.
Mm-hmm.
Then you've got like Crithel as well, who won the Glitches tournament this year or last year. And then you've got people like Plasma Snake as well. Like I met her when we went over to visit like Nobly and Hayfield and Drossi as well over in Norway.
See, I always thought you were in the Nordic region because of your association with those guys. Like I didn't know that you were actually from the UK. That's really interesting because you just kind of loop, like I'm a dumb American that lives over on the West Coast. I just kind of group everyone together. Don't really think about like, oh yeah, there's like quite a bit of separation there. But so that's cool. So you start playing rando. You said you got in the Overworld Glitches tournament. I believe you and Nobly, I can't remember who your third teammate was. Was it Hayfield Bay that first year you joined the league?
First year was Angles.
Oh, Angles. Okay. And that was season 2. Was that season 2?
Season 2, yeah.
Okay. And so how did that kind of come about and your experience in the league there?
So we kind of we knew we weren't like the hottest players out there, so we just kind of went in there to have fun. Like me and Nobly, we used to like almost for a year we just used to play AD co-op. So we just kind of like in the evenings just put a co-op on, chill, chat. And it was good for both of us, like because we, just finding company in each other, and that's kind of like how we become really, really good friends. So we done that for almost a year, and then like the league happened. I think that was the first year they opened it up, for more groups and whatever. So it was like, okay, let's grab a third team member, and Angles was a good friend as well, so we invited him along. And we had some good runs. There was some controversies as well, like, but. Like me and Nobly, like we were kind of prepared for like the all dungeons and the spoiler logs and all that stuff. And then like our big week, which I think was the spoiler log, I ended up catching COVID, which is kind of like at the beginning of COVID. So that was really unfortunate time, and that all happened.
Oh wow!
So that was kind of a worry as well. So it could have gone better that season. Like, I mean, we gave it our best effort. I don't think we qualified, but I think we got a few wins out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm looking at your schedule. So season 1 with you, Nobly, and Ingalls, you guys went 3-11 that year. So that was 2019. But season 3, you guys went 11-3. So you turned things around quite a bit when you brought in Hayfield Bay.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So how did that happen? How did the addition of Hayfield Bay kind of come about?
So it was kind of like a year later, and like we got more people who were kind of like interacting with us in like the Nordic community and everything. So we decided to like make some more teams and everything. So we just like switched angles into another team, and then we brought Hayfield in because I think he wanted to join but didn't have a team. So it was kind of like, okay, we'll kind of make like two teams. I think we done like the Noble Foxes and Noble Foxes Academy. I can't remember, was that season 3 or 4? I'm not even sure where we're at right now.
Yeah, season 3. Yeah, the seasons all blur together because especially with the COVID years, it was like, oh man, yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of like how Hayfield brought in, and I think Hayfield kind of went unbeaten like that entire.
He did. He sure did. 8-0 that year. You guys ended up making the division finals that season.
Yeah, that's right. We always get like do really, really well in the like the group stages, and as soon as we get to like the knockout stages, we struggle a little bit. But
yeah, so that was the first season of the Open League, and then you guys qualified for the Invitational in the last season of the league, and put up a really good run of 10-4 in the last season, and made the playoffs. Yeah.
We started off 6-0, I think. The first 6 races, like we just knocked them out of the water, and then I think. Again, we went against the Pug Trio, which was a spoiler week, which is probably, even though we don't mind doing spoilers, it's probably kind of like our weakest matchup to go spoiler, and especially against like Andy and Frame. I was talking to Frame, and he's saying like this is one of his favorite modes, so I was kind of like, okay, well, we might have to count this one as a loss, but it didn't let us dishearten. We went out there, had a bit of fun, and we still managed to qualify for the knockouts as well. So and we're happy, we're putting out a performance. If we don't, we're having fun and we're chilling with friends.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the fun thing, right? Is you talked about co-op. That's like one of the things I miss the most that's kind of not going on right now is the co-op races. It feels like in like 2020, there was a lot of co-op happening back then.
Yeah, and again, like I said, like mine and Nobly's kind of history where we done literally almost a year of AD co-ops was kind of like that's our mode, and even Hayfield was like, I'm going to leave that mode for you guys. Like that's kind of your thing.
So did you grow up playing Link to the Past? What was your kind of history with gaming?
So yeah, I mean, so I did have it. When I was about 5, I think my parents bought me an SNES, which I still actually have.
Oh wow.
Yeah, still I got like Link to the Past and Mario Karts and all that stuff as well. So I kind of did grow up playing that. And then I think I went to PlayStation, but then I think I went on to PC gaming for quite a few years. So like from PlayStation, I don't think I got another console to the Wii. So kind of skipping out like the PS2 and PS3 and all that stuff. I can't remember what, like, again, it's all a blur. These retro consoles. Like I've always enjoyed gaming. Like I mean, it's always been a part of my life, and like I'm not unhappy. I don't regret anything that I've done. So, with speedrunning, it's just kind of like just finding a new way to learn and love the games.
So on the PC, were you speedrunning any games or playing anything competitively?
Back in the day, the first real competitive thing I did was StarCraft 2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was quite big back in the day. Like with Total Biscuit, I used to watch a lot of him back on YouTube. So I really got into StarCraft 2, and then I can't remember where I've played some MMOs here and there. Then eventually got into League of Legends. Played that for quite a few years as well.
Oh, okay. So was that more casual, or were you trying to be like, you know what I mean, like competitive casual, or was it like super competitive? Where were you with those like the StarCraft and League of Legends and stuff?
StarCraft, I was trying to be competitive, but I never really got that far, and then I found the games just really, really stressful because you're like, we think rando and speedrunning is really intense. Like StarCraft, like you know, every millisecond you've got to be doing something. You've got to be clicking here, moving, and army pieces and buildings and whatever else. Like it's a lot going on, so you're kind of intensely focused, and then it all goes wrong, and it's just like it's very, very stressful because it's just like this one thing, and then they attack it, and you're just like, oh no, and then it's just like I can't recover from this, and then it's just like, well, that's half an hour just gone down the toilet, you know. So so I did kind of become, I wouldn't say competitive. I did practice. I did join one tournament and got defeated like almost straight away. But I don't want to say like I became hugely competitive because I kind of gave it up because I was like, you know what, I'm not having fun with this anymore. I enjoy the game. So if I play it now, it's kind of like campaign or whatever.
Yeah, more casual.
I was just saying with League of Legends, again, it was kind of like I met up with a group of friends and like we just used to play normals and just chill and have fun. So again, it was casual.
This is the thing that I find actually very intriguing about you, Obscure, is how casual you are. Like, it feels like you're not like a super competitive, I got to win everything sort of dude. Like, you seem like a very like laid back and like, let's just enjoy it and have a good time. Do you think that translates into kind of your success for Rando, that you can kind of be a little bit more laid back with it?
Yes and no.
I mean, am I wrong? Are you super competitive and I'm just misjudging you?
No. I mean, I'm competitive. Like, I like the competitive edge of it. I like chilling out as well.
Sure.
I think Nobly put it the best. He said, like, on ladder I'm too casual and chilled out, but in tournaments I'm too stressed out. Mm-hmm. So. Like, but yeah, I mean, it does come across in my gameplay as well. Like we talk about like how aggressive I am and how off meta like some of my plays are. If you watch me on the ladder, then like I was held back. Like the main tournament was me being reserved, and people are commenting like that. My ladder, it's just like, well, you know, I just found this. I'm gonna go run to catfish. You know, I've just found a glove. Let me go check catfish, and then let me go, you know, to desert or wherever I go. I want to have fun. You know, I want to have fun with the seeds. And like, if I'm going in there and just being like, well, I could put these checks together and put these checks together. I could be really efficient and do this, but that's not for me. Like, I mean, I could do that, but that's not fun for me. You know, I want to get Dark World and be like, you know what, I'm rushing Pedestal. Or I'm rushing Ice Palace, even though I've got like 6 crystals open and all I'm looking for is, you know, Fire Rod or something. Like that's the kind of, that's how I like to play the games, and that's what I enjoy.
Sure, yeah. So how does that come about? Like, because you know, there's the meta, there's the like, oh, I'm going to do the plays that are higher percentage or whatever, but you have a very unique play style. Where you like you talked about, you're like, I'm going to go do this and I'm going to go do this and kind of forget everything else. Like, how did that come about? Was it just from playing the game a lot and wanting to keep it fresh, or I don't know, tell me what you think.
Yeah, I don't really know, to be honest, because I feel like I've kind of got this, it's almost like a strategy as well. So I was talking like to GFE, because we've managed to get each other in the casual boots tournament. And I was saying like, out of like Andy, Scholzer, and GFE, I think I was most scared of GFE because I know how Scholzer and Andy race. So I kind of like, I want to make plays that they're not going to make, or I'm going to make plays they are going to make because I know they're going to make them. So I know things like Front of Hyrule Castle, like they won't do till super late. So I'm going to put priority on Hyrule Castle. But GFE, I don't really know that much about his game style. And he says he can be quite unpredictable as well. So I'm kind of glad that I'm glad I didn't get him, to be honest, because there was no way of predicting. But so I kind of play like this strategy game, like with them as well. But I mean, I don't know how it developed really. It's just, I think it's kind of like, you know what? I know Scholzer plays better. He's better execution, better like routing and all that stuff. So doing all that stuff that we're supposed to be doing is not going to win me the race here. Like, I have to go off meta. I have to go and find something. I think like a lot of the like really weird plays, like you look at the Andy game 3, where like I instantly dive into Hookshot the Swamp and then like find nothing there, and I'm going into like clearing out Thieves Town, like Pendant Thieves Town, and going to the back, and this is a MC boss shuffle, and then I'm going into Pendant Eastern and finding nothing, and then eventually I'll go into like Pendant Ice Palace and find a Fire Rod, and I was like, okay, well. And like, it just turned out that all the junk that I did early, Andy went and done late. But because I found that Fire Rod, like, kind of gave me slightly better routing and kind of like managed to squeeze me through. But I mean, I shouldn't have won that race. I'm quite open to say that. So
I mean, who should and shouldn't win a race is so. I mean, it is what it is, and that's kind of why we play this game, right? Like, the way you play can frustrate players, right? I'm sure you've heard the complaint, because it's like, why did you do this? Hearing you explain it, though, it makes me really appreciate how you route, and the thought, because it almost feels like, from an outsider's perspective, like, what is he doing? You know what I mean? Like, why is he doing this? And now you're talking about, I know my opponent. I think they're better than me if I play it straight. So let's do stuff that will negate that, right? Is that what I'm picking up?
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I don't want to go too far off the track. So like, even if I do find something like really out there that, you know, it's going to put me so far behind that I'm not going to catch up anyway. Like I need to be doing stuff and progressing and all that stuff. But, you know, kind of from time to time, just go off the track and back on the track again. And like, if I don't find anything, well, I'm going to go look for another angle. And I keep looking until I find that angle. And then when I do, then you'll just see me like, okay, here we go. Now I'm going to play nothing but like straight up gameplay. I think what was it? I think it was Andy's game 2 where I was looking for Moonpearl, and like all we had left was Eastern Palace and Sick Kid. I didn't have any money in Kakariko, so I didn't do Bowl Merchant. So I went over there and found the Moonpearl on Sick Kid, and Andy went over to Eastern. So when I found the Moonpearl on Sick Kid, I was like, you know what? This is going to put me ahead. So what I want to do right now is I don't want to lose that lead. So I'm going to do everything that I think Andy's going to do, and manage to just kind of pull out like the lead or whatever, like just kind of stayed ahead like the whole time. And but then like you look at the shores of game 1 where like I've got Dark World access, like with Titan's Mitts, and I've gone over to like South Dark World, over to Hype Cave, and then just rushed off into Palace of Darkness and Mimic clipped and found the boots. And he was like, I can't believe you went into Palace of Darkness at 20 minutes. He's like, I thought I found the boots early. And he's like, you just rushed over there. And I was like, But then once I found the boots, you know, I was kind of like, okay, he might take a long time to get here because this is a terrible place. This is like terrible area to go. So I was like, you know what? I've got these boots. Let's use them and get some advantage here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's so wild because it goes against so much of like, I don't know, the way I route or some of the, I guess, more safer routers of like, I'm so afraid to like skip stuff that I end up over clearing things, right? And, you know, then I lose a bunch of time because it's like, oh, I could spend time doing this one check that takes like a minute and a half or whatever and be okay. You know, like if I skip it, it's nothing, and I skip it, and I don't know. It's just so hard to kind of like come to that mentality of like, oh, I'm gonna kind of is gamble the right word, or like I don't know. I mean, how do you explain it? Like a gamble, I guess. Yeah,
off meta play or whatever.
And off meta play, and then write it. I think is just an interesting way of routing and playing the game. I think that's been what was one of the that made the Race Against Shoals a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, even when it comes to ladder and everything, like the best part about ladder is I can actually talk to people. So I'm kind of like, I can talk about like what I'm thinking and going through, and like people can hear. Like it's what we don't feel like with the main tournament as well. Like with the restream and the 10-minute delay, it's actually very isolating to sit here and play the game and have no one talking to you, and like you can't explain everything, and like 1,000-something people are watching. And you can't say anything, you can't explain anything. And of course, you got the interview at the end, but it's kind of like, well, you made this play an hour ago. Like, why did you make that? And you're just kind of like, I don't know, it was an hour ago, you know?
Right, yeah, for sure.
I don't know why I went here instead of there.
So what's the future for you, Hold? You going to win another one of these tournaments? Are you guys coming back for the league and take that one down now too?
It's, I've been thinking about it. Like, it's, like I said, like, it's very isolating, like, sitting here. And yes, I love this game, and I don't want to stop. Like I'm really enjoying myself, but I'm kind of contemplating whether I want to quit the team or not quit the team, but like leave the team for now, because like what I've realized, like especially towards the end of the main tournament. But again, like just a bit background information about me. So I actually work for a cancer charity at a hospital.
Oh wow!
Yeah. So the patients I particularly deal with are palliative patients. So they're basically end of life kind of situation. So my whole day is basically death and dying.
Wow.
And randomizer is kind of like for me to escape and talk and have fun. And so when I'm like streaming ladder and whatever, I'm making all these silly plays. I'm talking about it, having laughs. Like my friends know, like I forget things quite often. Like I'm doing silly things and whatever else, and we're laughing about it. It's all fun. But then when you're here, like sitting in front with like a 10-minute delay, you've got no distraction, you're just focused on the game. It's isolating, and it's like, this is not what I really want to be doing. Like as much as I enjoy playing the game and I like playing this, like Restreams are fine. Like restreams are absolutely fine. Like once in a while, but then when you're kind of getting further, and then it's kind of like, okay, you're doing 2, 3. It's like races a week, and it's kind of taking up quite a bit of your time. And it's kind of like, well, I haven't actually got time to stream and talk to my friends and have them pop in or go on their streams and, you know, talk silly nonsense with them. So I didn't quite get that escape that I was kind of looking for, like from where it worked. And I've only been working there for like 9 months. So since last tournament, like my situation's kind of changed. So last tournament I was fine with like sitting here being restreamed and everything, but now it's a little bit different. So it's not because I'm not enjoying the game or anything like that. This is not the part of it that I enjoy sitting here. I want to be talking, and like if they said, you know what, you're not going to be on restream, that's absolutely fine. Like me, like I'll sit here and chat and do silly stuff and go to Catfish and run into doors because I forgot a key and all that stuff. But so I'm a bit undecided. I'm quite happy like to do all the smaller tournaments, but as for like the bigger tournaments of the league or the main tournaments, the SGL, like all that stuff, I'm undecided at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, I get it, right? Like Dante won last year, Gamma got second last year. Both of them didn't play this year. It burns you out when you play that much rando. And you talk about like it's supposed to be a fun like getaway, and then we turn it into almost like a job, really, right? Yeah. And so I totally understand kind of like, I guess the burnout, but just the desire of wanting to kind of recapture what it is that you love about playing the game and hanging out with friends and stuff like that.
Exactly.
And tournaments can definitely suck that away. And dude, I'm so glad you did the podcast because, you know, for the most part, we all have our like pockets of communities within this ALTTPR community, but we don't really get to know everyone, right? And, you know, we can hang out on streams and stuff, but like hearing your story and hearing, you know, like with the job that you do and then how you use rando as kind of a release is awesome. That's super cool to hear your story, and it makes it more personal, and it makes, I don't know, I love that kind of thing. I love hearing about who you are.
I mean, I appreciate it. Like I've listened to some of your other season ones, and like just hearing stuff that I didn't know about, like about people that like Nielsen Alex, who I talk to quite often, and hearing him and talk, and like Drossi and all this kind of stuff. Like everybody's got their own story, and it's really, really interesting. All these people who are virtual and on the internet, and all of a sudden they're becoming real life people. So thank you so much. Like I'm really enjoying your podcasts.
Oh, I appreciate it, man. And thank you so much for doing that. We're not done yet. We're not going to wrap it up yet. I just wanted to thank you because it's super cool because, again, like we see Obscure, we see you make the plays they make, and that kind of becomes who Obscure is, right? He kind of is like an anti-meta router, and he's whatever. But then you learn about someone and they become like a person. I don't know. There's something cool about that I really enjoy.
It is. It's cool and special. And that's why I like meeting up with people when I can. Like that's why I go out to Norway, and there's a few other people that don't really play anymore that I've met up with as well. Like I love meeting these people in real life, and even people from League of Legends I used to play with, I've met up with, and all these. I love meeting people.
Yeah, and it shows like you talk about on your streams, kind of like having fun with your chat and having fun with your friends and that kind of thing. When you were watching the Super Mario World stuff and like the Yoshi's Island stuff and those other speedruns, did you have any desire to get into like Mario Maker or Super Mario World hacks or anything?
I've played a couple of Mario hacks in the past. I've got Mario Maker. I've been forbid for playing Mario Maker because some other. Yeah, I mean it's like they'll be fine. Like some other Mario Maker, no names. They will know who they are. But yeah, they came from a Mario Maker background and switched to Link to the Past. And are like, no, I don't want to watch you play Mario Maker. I want to watch you play Link to the Past. I was like, fine. But yeah, I mean, I did speedrun. Me and Hayfield, we were practicing speedruns for Super Mario World. I kind of stopped with that because I decided I'd be really, really cool and decided to do small Mario, like 96 levels or something like that. And I kind of took on a little bit too much there, but Hayfield done really well with that, like with the speedruns with Super Mario's, and he does SMB3s as well. But I do enjoy the Marios, but I haven't really got into, like, if I was to get into anything, it'd probably be the Kaizo stuff. But I feel like, again, like, I'd have to dedicate myself. Like, if anything, I'd probably go into the Super Metroid scene because I do SMZ3s. I've learned the Super Metroid game, so I'm kind of halfway there. It's just just need to practice through the execution.
I see. Okay. Man, that's a tough game to get into. It's it's fun, but it's definitely a leap from from Link to the Past. All right, so there's a couple questions on the Discord, kind of some general questions I'm going to ask you. And we've got Dr. Earworm asking, did you have a moment, and this is going to be kind of funny because you just won the main tournament, where you said, I'm actually good at this game?
No, that's the worst part. No, even at the end, like Koi's trying to trip me up, and he's like, well, I remember a time last year when you said you feel like this is expectation, you weren't that good at the game, and that's kind of like the highlight of your career. And it's like, you mustn't be feeling that. I was like that now, and I'm just kind of like, well, actually, like I'm still don't feel like I'm going to win this tournament. I was like, I'm going to watch this restream back, and it's going to be a completely different outcome. Yeah. I actually, like, in seriousness to your question though, like the runners I went against, like obviously starting off with CS Tutor, like again, like starting off with that one, I talked to Tutor quite a lot. We felt like that was 50-50 who managed to win that one. And then Ikea, who I've never spoken to before, was actually a really, really awesome guy, and I'm glad we got to race because I really like the guy and I like to hang out in the stream from time to time now. See, this is kind of what I enjoy with the main tournament. Yeah. Like I meet someone I've never raced before, like Ikea, and then like in the cross keys, like I've started talking to like Windfox, and so like all these great people that I never would have spoken to otherwise. But then like you get to people like Humbug. And I'm like, no way, no way. And then like I managed to beat him, and I'm kind of like, wait, that wasn't supposed to happen. And then you get Zero Rush, and then you beat him, and it's like, wait, that wasn't supposed to happen. Like, what's going on here? And it's like, well, it's fine. I've got Andy next. Like, surely this is where the story ends. And as hard as I tried on that game 3, I got through it. And I'm kind of like, wait. I was like, I'm literally like, I've got 3 races maximum left. I only need to win 2 of them to win an entire tournament. I was like, that was probably kind of the moment. Like after I got past Andy, I was kind of like, wait, there's a shot here. Like there's only one other person to beat. And as good as Schulzer is, it's rando. Like totally. it defies logic sometimes, these seeds.
Sure. A Homemade Beer asks, who are some of the folks you look up to in the community and why?
Oh gosh, I mean, there's so many people. I mean, if we're going back, like I said, the overworld glitches. Like he doesn't race anymore, but Hacksaw, if anyone remembers him, I remember getting to the end and was at the interview at the end, and I was saying like, I've only been racing 2 months, and he was like, you've been racing 2 months. I was like, that's fantastic. Like you're so good, and like I still remember that interview from like years ago, and that was kind of like. One of the first people I was like, that really gave me that confidence boost, like to keep going with this. Like he, Nobly was kind of like the first person that I really kind of spoke to in the community. So I kind of look up to him as well, I guess, because, you know, without him, I probably wouldn't have been here. I wouldn't have been in this tournament at all. I wouldn't be still playing this game because of the people that we've met and the friends that we've made along the years. And then you've got people like Gamma and Zelga as well, like 2 fantastic runners who keep beating me in these tournaments. So thankfully I have managed to avoid both of them this year. Probably the reason why I was able to get through to the ends, because I didn't run into either of those. I mean, there's so many people to name. Sure. And then like even like you've got people like Krithel and Malmo, like with the glitches, and like they're so supportive as well. You've got like Beer and who asked the question, Structural Mike, who are making these really intricate like game modes and everything, and you're just kind of like, wow, like just when you think the game can't be developed anymore, and here, you know, they're making these really cool modes and whatever else. And just a shout out to Structural Mike as well, the only guy that 2-0'd me in the entire tournament.
Oh, nice.
So nice. Yeah, he 0-2'd me in the group stages. So I was kind of like, well, I'm going to go out right away.
Of course. Speaking of Structural Mike asks, what's your favorite check out of the 216?
Oh, my favorite check. Do you know what? Maya Sheds. I don't care if I've got Mirror or whatever. As soon as I've got those Titans and Flutes, I want to check Maya Sheds. Like, I don't know what it is about that check.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, because it takes a lot to get there, right? You need mitts, you need 2 gloves, you need the flute, and usually the Moon Pearl, right? So it's not a quick check to get to.
I think once you got that stuff, it's quite quick. But
yeah,
you know,
for sure.
It's quite quick. Rather than getting like Village Outcast, Hype Cave, Skullwoods, Pod, blah blah blah. It's like, okay, just quickly pop into Misery Maya, check that. Okay, nothing there. Let's carry on. Done.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Ari asks, do you have a most memorable race? Which again is kind of a silly question considering you just won the main tournament. But do you have? Is that going to be it? Is that your most memorable race?
No, actually, there was a really, really fantastic race, and I'm not going to say who the other opponent was. And it was actually a league race. It was an Enemizer, and I think it was season 2, our first win. It was an Enemizer, so I think it was Enemizer and like Boss Shovel and everything. And we were looking for a medallion go mode, and like my opponent had a bit of trouble dying on a couple of bosses, so I was kind of like quite ahead. But it kind of came down to looking for this medallion, and I went up to Turtle Rock, and my opponent went to Smith Chain and found the medallion on like the Smith or something. So from being a little bit behind, like they were massively in front. So I've gone up to Turtle Rock and I found the boots in there and I found the silver arrows in there. Cleared out Turtle Rock. Then I've gone and done like the boots check and checked Lumberjack, and then I've gone to do Smith Chain. So from like being ahead, I'm now massively behind. So at this point, like we're doing Misery Mire, and then I think we're going up to GT because I think Turtle Rock was a pendant. So my opponent went Hope left and cleared all of that, and then they went right side, and that's where the big key was. And I just kind of went, oh no, I think they just went full left. I don't know what they did, but they went full left. And I went Hope right side. So I'm still like a good like 3 minutes behind, like coming into GT. Anyway, so we're climbing, but because I've got these silver arrows and boots, like you can slowly see me like catching up like the whole time. And I think it was Willard and Rick that were doing the comms, who are like two of my favorite commentators. Absolutely, like these guys need awards. Honestly, like they're so good at commentating. I love it when they do comms for me. So yeah, you can see slowly catching up, and then so my opponent, like they're already in Ganon. I think like when I dropped down, they're already in like phase 3 or everything, but they're going to have to do a tempered Ganon fight. So literally, the last silver arrow was when I managed to overtake him again.
Oh wow!
So it was literally 6 seconds difference, but it was that last silver arrow. And like even to watch it, like I still watch it now because it is on YouTube, and yeah, it still excites me. It's such a good race.
And it's still pretty early in your rando days to where it really made an impression, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And like the person I was against was I don't want to say because you know I don't want people kind of finding out who they are or whatever, but. It's kind of they were a very good runner, and they were quite known.
You've given enough clues. It's on YouTube.
That's
it
true.
Was in the league.
I don't want to give everything away. Yeah,
yeah. Just do a little bit of searching. I'm sure you could find out who it is.
Just in case they listen,
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like that's kind of my favorite race or rando moment that I've done.
That's awesome. Orange asks, is there anyone you've wanted to race 1v1 but haven't got to yet?
Ooh, it probably is. I can't think off the top of my head. Because I think a lot of the people have got round to racing, whether it's on ladder or whatever else.
Mm-hmm. You've had some good races against Gamma. I remember. Didn't you beat him in SGL? Was it last year?
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, let's talk about every time that you beat Gamma Chew. That's always my favorite.
Yeah, it's so much fun because like we like to tease each other, but like again, Gamma Chew is just like he's such a positive influence for the community, and I love that he's around. Such a nice guy. But yeah, the speed game, and again, it kind of comes down to like this. You know what? I have to do an off meta play, and at the time, Pendant Thieves Town was quite strong. And there was 3 items at the front. And as soon as I saw 3 items at the front, I was like, there's definitely something in the back of Thieves Town. And this was one of those controversial raids because I actually had nobody around my house at the time as well. But yeah, so I was like, there's 3 items at the front. I was like, there's no way he's going to the back. And the rest of the races that I've played, like 3 items at the front usually means one progression item that is hard required at the back. And yeah, there it was, like on blind, the ether, which I don't think he ever got. So that was quite an amusing one. But we went against each other in the All Dungeons Key Sanity tournament as well. And again, it was good fun. I think we went 2-1. He got through 2-1.
Yeah, it turns out Gamma's pretty good at 80 keys.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. But I think I think I said to him, I was like, look, if you're going to win this tournament, don't lose another game because at least I can say I was the only person who took a game away from you.
That's awesome. Oh man, thanks so much for doing this, man. I really appreciate it. Just coming off of that huge victory, and Yeah, it was a lot of fun to watch. You take the whole thing down.
Yeah, like this is going to be the highlight of like my gaming career, so to speak, for a long time. Like, this is the biggest thing I think I've ever achieved in gaming. And it's so much fun. And like, again, the community support, like I absolutely love the friends that I've made and the friends that I'm going to make as well. Like, I'm not saying I'm quitting Rando right now, because even still people are dropping in my stream and saying like, hey, I watched you, like, well done, congratulations, and all that stuff. And people, like, new people dropping in my stream. So I'm so glad that there are people out there. And yeah, I'm loving it. Not because I won the tournament, but because of this fantastic community.
Mm-hmm. So we're gonna leave it out with the last question to kind of ask everyone is about tilt. I don't know if do you tilt? Do you get angry after you lose? You seem like such a positive person. You seem like you're able to handle defeat really well. Do you tilt? And what would you be your advice for handling that kind of thing?
I mean, I think everybody tilts. I don't think I display anger so much. Like, I'm not that kind of person, but I think I get frustrated, like when you've gone through like a really bad seed, which has just been like, bad seed for me is boring. Like, or like you've made all the off meta plays and it was actually just, a jet seed.
Linear. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So that could be like, so, and I mean, I've go through lots of tilt in the ladder as well, where I like go just through like a huge losing streak. But I mean, I kind of laugh it off. Like when I'm at like 5 or 6 losses, but then when it gets to like double figures, I'm kind of like, okay, maybe I should take a break now or something. So yeah, I think everybody goes to tilt. It's kind of sometimes hard to recognize when you're going through tilt. But yeah, I think, if you find yourself, like losing a lot, or, find yourself not enjoying the game or frustrated or whatever, like for me, I just take a step back, I'll just do some chill out races. Like, like we'll sit in a Discord together and we'll play a cross keys, or I'll go and play on the Switch or something else, just kind of leave the rando alone for a little bit, and then a week later I'll play again, and like you know what, even if I lose again, it doesn't matter, because I've taken that break and I kind of had fun. It was nice to stream after not streaming for a week, And that's kind of how I deal with any frustration in tilt. That's smart. Take time away and kind of recharge your batteries and then come back at it. It's good advice. All right, man. Thanks again so much for doing the show. I can't thank you enough. I'm excited for people to hear more of your story, and yeah, I can't thank you enough for doing this. Thank you so much for inviting me onto the show. Like, I really appreciate it and giving me the opportunity to let people get to know me. And yeah, feel free to shout out on Discord and get chatting. Again, big shout outs to Obscure for agreeing to come on the show so quickly after the main tournament ended, and then he wrapped up his victory. You're going to see his name in the Houlihan room shortly when the devs add that to the game. Pretty awesome. Cool to hear him explain who he is and kind of talk about why he plays the way he does and the decisions that he makes, and hearing more about his background and the work that he does is it's pretty awesome. So the fact that this podcast can humanize the people in this community, the runners, we see them playing the game and they kind of become that, right? They become just people that are playing a video game. But when you get to learn about someone's history, someone's background, it turns them into a real person and not just someone pushing buttons. And I love that. So we'll be back on Monday with the final episode with Solski, season 1 wrapping up. And again, I'll announce the season 2 lineup. It's a big one, so make sure you tune in next Monday for the season 1 finale with Solski. And again, we'll be off for 2 weeks, and then we'll be back for season 2. Season 2 is going to be a fun one. Make sure you join the Discord. You can do that by going to 216pod.com, clicking the link there. If you can leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, that helps the show out. Again, spread the word to your friends, share it through Discord or any of those means. Helps the show out a lot. Can't thank you all enough for the response to this first season. It's been great, and I'm having a blast doing it. So I'm not going anywhere. Gonna have a good season 2 as we wrap up season 1. All right, everyone. Thanks for hanging out. Hope you had a good time. We'll see you next week.